everyone? Welcome to the Nickel City Mafia channel. Hold up, don't worry, you're not at the wrong place. I know it looks like we're going to talk sports. We're not. This is just my overlay. This is what I talk about. So don't worry, you're in the right place. I'm here today to talk about some of the things I've learned in the last 2.5 months that might be able to help you save a lot of time. If I had had someone give me this information or had somebody to ask questions to, God, it would have saved me a bunch of time, and I would have been able to use that time for creating content and with spending time with my family, which is the most important, of course. You can reach out to me. I'm going to breeze through a lot of this today, guys, and I realize that you need content quick, and I don't want to have you here for a very long period of time because I know your time is precious. So I will breeze through a lot of things. I'm going to try to get to this under 30 minutes or quicker if I can. You can reach out to me at any of those social media platforms that are over there. My email's there as well. So if you find something that you want more information on, hit me up in the comments or just reach out to me. So let's get going with this. Again, this is what I've learned in the last 2.5 months. And stick around to the end. One of the most important things was adding guests, right? Adding guests to your stream. If you're doing something like I do where I talk about specific content and I want to bring in guests, family members, friends, experts in the field, I mean, it's one of the most important things, and I struggled with it at first, and now I have a better solution. So stick around. We'll talk about that at the end. So let's get going. Who's the stream meant for? Okay, live streamers, new content creators. I mean, seriously, those looking to get started. How cool! I've been doing this 2.5 months. It's a lot of fun, and I can't tell you. I mean, even it's a challenge. It's a challenge at times, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm here to share some things with you, and hopefully you can share some things with me. So again, those looking to get started, OBS users, I only stream using OBS. So if you're hoping to find out about something else, another streaming platform, another streaming tool, you're not going to get that from me today, but there might be some other things you're able to pick up on here, and especially if you've been considering maybe using OBS. And so OBS users, this is possibly for gamers. I mean, I know folks that use one machine to broadcast their games. Gamers do need more power to the machine, and sometimes they have more advanced setups. But you can get something out of this as well. And those with questions, as I mentioned earlier, if I had someone to ask questions to, man, I would save a lot of time. So hopefully I'm going to save you a lot of time. All right, what do you need to get started? It's a good idea, right? I came up with this idea that I love the city of Buffalo. I grew up there. I have ties to those sports teams. I love sports teams. That's what my channel is all about. So a good idea and something you will enjoy. If you're not enjoying it, it's work, and you're never going to be successful if you're not enjoying what you do. So a good idea is something you will enjoy. You need to have a YouTube channel or some other platform, Twitch, Facebook, OBS streams to all those. I actually just stream to YouTube. So again, I highly recommend that you get one of those channels set up if you're thinking about it. Proper equipment, I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then, talk to your significant other. This is going to take some time away from them or your family. So let them know. When I started, it was like, hey, honey, I'm going to stream on Saturday morning, 7 o'clock before everyone wakes up. She's like, okay, great. But then she started seeing the time I was spending prepping for the content, and she was like, you're starting to get a lot more time taken away from us. And then I added 2 more shows during the week. Oh my goodness. So yes, talk to your significant other, make sure they're okay with what you're about to do, because it will take a little bit of time away from you. Anyhow, lighting, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but we're all beautiful people, but trust me, lighting brings out the best. If I was to go turn off my lighting right now, you'd probably all run scared. No, I'm just joking, but lighting is so important, and I'll talk about my setup later. I started initially trying to stream with just a lamp right in the back there and some natural light. Thought that was enough. It's not. You're going to need some lighting. OBS, again, I mentioned OBS, Open Broadcaster software. It is totally free. It is fantastic. I don't know how they're able to give this to us for free. It's powerful. You can do some really fun things and good content with it. Good content creation. Let's move on here. What is that proper equipment? Well, it depends on your content. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy expensive hardware when you may not need it. Now, gamers, you need good machines. You need a strong graphics card. You need a powerful CPU, but not everyone does. If you're doing what I'm doing right now, just talking to you and maybe bringing in a few guests here and there, my machine, when you see my specs, they're overkill. Why are they overkill? Well, I'm a tech guy, I'm a gadget guy, I manage a team of developers, so all I'm about technology. So of course I want to have the latest and greatest. And it had been a few years since I had updated my PC. And when I built out a new PC early in the year, I really didn't have this in mind. So it just happened that I had a nice machine when I decided to do it. But see how your current content performs, or your content performs on your current system. Again, it's free to do all these test streams. You're going to hear me talk a lot about testing, but check out your current system, set up a stream, and see if it meets your expectations. There's a lot of experimentation with that, but if you have it, if you have already the hardware you need, you don't need to spend a dime. You're good to go. Get started. Now I'm sure in the future you'll want to add more and more to it, but you can get this started up with very little cost to get going. Anyhow, again, hit me up. You'll see what my setup is at the end. Total overkill. So again, check it out. Streaming for test streams are free. Webcam. I do recommend you get another webcam. Don't use the one on your laptop. You could, but they're usually not as good as the external webcams. And I recommend you get another webcam anyway. You're going to want to back up. So get that webcam and use it as your primary. And if something happens, you always have the built-in one. But again, that's my recommendation there. Get a good mic. Mic's one of the most important things. We want to hear you loud and clear. So get a mic. I'll give you my recommendations later on down the road. Don't use one of the AirPods. Don't use a wireless mic or anything like that. You're going to have problems. You're going to have low audio quality, and people are going to be disappointed with it and possibly leave your channel because of it. And then again, I already talked about lighting a little bit. Again, more lighting than just the lamp in the back. And then what's very important here, I cannot emphasize this piece enough, an Ethernet connection. What's an Ethernet connection? Hopefully you know. If you don't, take a look at your machine that you're thinking of going to live stream with. If you're not got a wire hooked up to your machine, to your router, or to some other port and maybe in a wall or something else, which is an Ethernet connection, then you're running Wi-Fi. And if you're running Wi-Fi and you're trying to push all this content up through Wi-Fi, you're going to have issues. I guarantee it. Will it work? Maybe. And maybe that's how, that's all you have to work with. Try it out. Make sure it works. But if you can, I strongly suggest you use an Ethernet connection and you'll be very satisfied. It's going to give you the most reliable and the fastest internet connection possible. So anyhow, let's move on. Let's go stream. So how do we do that? Well, we got to go enable the live stream on our YouTube channel. How do you do that? You go to the, bring up YouTube. In the top right, there's what looks like a camera. You click on it, it's the create button, and it'll drop down and there'll be this go live option. You click go live. And the first time you go in there, it'll say, hey, live stream is not available on this channel. And there'll be a red button to enable it. So click the enable. It might have you go through some verification. It didn't for me, maybe because I had my channel for a long time, but it may require you to do some type of verification. And then once the verification is done, it could take up to 24 hours for that live stream and experience to be activated. So just come back the next day and you're good to go. Once it's activated, schedule your first test stream. Again, I'm talking test, and you'll understand why later. Always test. Before you go live with something for everyone to see, test it out. Another suggestion, unique thumbnails for public streams. When I went live first, I'm like, I'm just going to take it easy. I'm not going to create all these custom thumbnails. I'm going to use my logo. Well, that was the worst idea ever. I mean, people were like, dude, I can't tell what to watch. I mean, you have things on food, you have things about the Bills, about the Sabres, but yet all your thumbnails look the same. Horrible idea. I quickly pivoted and fixed that problem. So low latency is the sweet spot. And I'm going to tell you something. Down in that image, I'm sorry it's not the greatest quality. Again, we're learning as we go here. But that is your YouTube studio. When you're in there, ready to go stream, that is the control center. And you have three options at the bottom. It's called normal latency, low latency, and ultra low latency. The difference between them is, look, I'm talking to you right now. I'm using low latency. What I'm saying right now, you're hearing 11 seconds later. So if I want to interact with my folks in live chat, which why wouldn't you? You're doing a live stream. You're going to want some type of lower latency than the normal latency. The normal latency, it could take up to 30 to 40 seconds for what I'm saying to what my listeners and my viewers are hearing. So they'll start chiming in on the channel. I've been well past that and I have to circle back. So I found the low latency to be the sweet spot. Thank me later. Just go with it. Trust me, I've done a lot of testing on it. It also has to do with the quality of your stream as well. Low latency, there's little buffering for your viewers. So I was getting times when people were saying, hey man, there was a lot of buffering going on. I don't know if it was my PC, but then I would test it and I would see the same thing. So that's the sweet spot. Another thing I want you to do is create specific stream keys. You might not be able to read it right here, but in this top box here, what I have outlined in white, it's called the stream key. And by default, it's going to be set to default. And what that means is it's going to pick up anything that it's going to recognize what you're streaming at, and it's going to use that resolution. So they say. Now, what I like to do, I want to be crystal clear about what I want it to stream at, what resolution. So what I did is I go in there in this drop down. If you drop it down, it says create new key. You can create your own keys. And then you'll say create new key, give it a description. In this case, it was YouTube 1080p. Not sure you can read that. But you can go in there and create a 720p key. You can create a 4K key, and get them all set up. And that way you know exactly what resolution you're streaming at, and you won't be surprised when you go review it. So that's my suggestion as well. And again, look what I'm saying again here. Test, test, test. It's free to test. Before you do any live streams, test the heck out of the platform. All right, let's move on. OBS gotchas. Whoo, boy, let me tell you a story about this one. Watch out for the echo of death. What is the echo of death? Well, you see there on the left, I have that audio mixer. That's a piece of OBS. And if you're seeing those two green lines, if I'm talking right now and I'm looking at the the OBS mixer, the audio mixer, boy, I say that 5 times fast. And I'm seeing two lines, that means there's two audio channels competing against one another, and they're not perfectly in sync. So it sounds like this echo. It sounds like I'm in the bathroom. It sounds horrible. You're going to lose viewers. Don't make that mistake. So that's why I say test, test, test. Make sure you go through each of your scenes in OBS and talk and make sure you're not hearing that echo. And then review it. Review it, review. I go check all my streams afterwards, but so I can learn from them. But during my pre-checks as well, I like do a quick stream and verify everything is working and I don't have that echo effect, echo of death, because you will lose viewers. The bit rate, again, here's another place that you can just say, thank you, Mike. I'm going to go enjoy dinner and I'm going to save hours and hours of time of figuring out what the right bit rate is. I stream at 1080p. If you're going to stream at 1080p, the sweet spot is 6,000 kilobytes per second. Set it and forget it. You'll be good to go. If it doesn't work for you after you do a test, drop it down to 45 kilobits per second and try that out. Those are the two settings you should ever need. I've tested this a lot. And I was originally pumping too much bitrate and it was causing problems, and I was going too low, and just finding that sweet spot, it ended up being 6,000. And that works for most streaming platforms. So check it out. Again, you'll be testing that. Encoders, I wish somebody would have told me this, right? So again, on that left, on that settings image that I put up there, that's from OBS. And again, it has the bit rate in there. And then if you're using the NVIDIA, the NVINC encoder, you get some additional quality settings. There's a max quality. I'm using the sweet spot, which is quality. And then the encoder. I wish I knew about this. What's this encoding thing? By default, it's going to use this what's called X264 encoding. And that uses your processor. And it's good quality. It's great quality. It's probably better than any of the encoders. it just stresses the heck out of your CPU. So you better have a good processor. And if you have a decent video card, you can offload this encoding to your video cards. I have an NVIDIA video card, and I use the NVENC encoder. NVIDIA does a great job of doing the encoding. So that's what I'm using. AMD has their own version. I had an AMD originally, and if you have an AMD in your machine and you drop that drop down down, you're going to see AMD's Advanced Media Framework. So again, experiment with both the X264 and then whatever card you have, use their encoder and check it out. I didn't notice much difference. X264 is supposed to be better, but these graphic cards are very good. They do a great job. That's what they're supposed to do, right? Put out video. And so I don't notice much of a difference. The only thing I do notice is that my CPU isn't just crunching along. Because if your CPU is taxed, and let's say I'm trying to bring up something else over here while I'm live streaming, maybe I want to bring up another application, that could be a problem. I can encounter some lag. So by using the graphic card encoders, that offloads that work. All right. So again, the echo of death. And man, it can get you. I mean, let me tell you a little backstory on that, what happened to me. So I went live with my inaugural stream, and I was so excited. I was back on May 29th. I had prepped for weeks on getting the content right, figuring out what I was going to do, and I had the echo of death hit me. And I still have that stream. You can go check it out. I'm not lying to you. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's my inaugural stream. When I'm on camera, you're going to hear that echo of death, and this will avoid that. So again, you see those lines. It bit me again. I'll tell you about it in a second. It hit me again. And again, I'm going to share that with you, and it has to do when I start adding guests. All right, so let's move on here. Bringing in guests. Here we go. How do you bring in guests? Well, there's a lot of YouTube content out there about guests, but they talk about Zoom. And Zoom I tried it, and the way you have to add it as a source, I didn't like it. It felt so disconnected from OBS. So then I did a little more research. I found Skype. So Skype has this thing, NDI. I'm not going to get technical with you, but it allows you to it works really well with OBS. OBS has this free plugin. It's a NDI plugin. You just download it into OBS. And if you're using Skype, you have to make sure you remove the default version that's on Windows, because unfortunately that doesn't work, and you have to go get the latest from the Skype site. You download that, and then you have to go enable NDI. If you need assistance with that, just let me know. I'll let you know how to do that, but you can also find it. Just Google it, and you'll find how to enable NDI. You're the only one who has to do it. If you're the producer, if everyone's coming to your machine before it goes out to the internet, you're the only one who needs that enabled. I would highly suggest that you have your guests update their Skype applications to the latest and greatest. So here, I got hit with the echo of death again. What? Mike, how could you let this happen? What's wrong with you? You already had it happen on your inaugural stream. It ruined it for you. How did it happen again? Well, I'll tell you how it happened again. And I blame it on Skype. No, it was my fault. So what happened is, as you're adding Skype, and again, you host a meeting, you send out the link, everyone joins, right? If it's just you and one other Skype user, it's not a problem. I have my camera, I have my own audio, and then that Skype user gets added, and they have their audio and their camera. Everything's good. We're both in sync. Now, when you add additional folks through Skype, let's say you have 3 folks or 4, and you start adding them to the scene here in OBS, well, they all get their separate video streams, so each one of them will show their video, but they all share the same audio stream. I didn't know that. So what does that mean? I added all 4 of them. Video looked great. I had it all in the overlay ready to go live, and we actually did go live, and people were like, dude, cut it off, shut it down. Audio is horrible. And what happened? Well, because I had 4 of them in there, each one of them were talking, and no matter which one talked, it went through all the different audio streams. Again, they share the one audio stream. So all of them, every time they talked, it was like this major echo thing going on. And you can fix that. I didn't know at the time. You can fix it. Just mute the other 3. So if you had 4 in there, mute the other 3, and then do your check. Make sure on the audio mixer when everyone's talking, and have them all take a, go around the room, have them all talk, and make sure you're only seeing one green line talk or stream move through the audio mixer. If you get there, you're good to go. And then the other big problem with Skype is, because it is one audio source for all, there's video audio sync issues. It bugs the heck out of me when I go back and watch a great show that we just put on. I have 2 guests, and I go back and I see only one of them in sync, like somebody's talking and their audio is way out of sync. And that's what you get with Skype. If it's just one person, if it's just me and one Skype person, we'll be fine. We add an additional one, somebody's going to be out of sync. And the more and more you add, the more people that are going to be out of sync. It just looks like garbage to me. And I've been searching for something better. And finally, last week, I found out that one of my coworkers actually has a cousin who's a famous streamer on Facebook. She has hundreds of thousands of followers. So I was like, why didn't you tell me this, man? Even though I've been doing this for a couple months. Where you been? Why didn't you share this information? But anyhow, once I found out, I asked him to ask her, what does she use for streaming with multiple guests? And she said obs.ninja. And I had heard about obs.ninja, and I tried to experiment with it about 2-3 weeks ago, but things got in the way. We're doing a lot of shows, and it was just taking a lot of my time to try to figure that out. So I moved on and kept using Skype. Well, my buddy gets on and he says, let's try it out. Let's figure it out. It's super easy. I don't know what took me so long. Basically, it's a website. You create a room. You send out the link to everybody. They join your room. It has a way for you to easily add as a source to OBS. And basically, you use a browser source. You paste the URL in there for each person. And there's a checkbox that says control audio in OBS. You check that. Boom, every one of them gets their own audio stream. Now I can control each one individually. How does that help? Well, let's say I'm working with a Yeti mic and somebody doesn't have a powerful mic and I'm sounding a lot louder than the other person. I can then go adjust those audio streams, right? I can adjust them for each person. Super helpful. So OBS Ninja, where have you been all my life? Full control of audio sources, low latency, high quality. And again, I've used it recently. There was like one show we did, the last show, where I said, guys, my guys didn't know this. They're like, we're using a new technology for the show. I'm like, what? We got it going, 10 minutes, super easy, and boom, we were on the air. And it was so nice, so much better. Everyone was in sync, just much more professional. My setup, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here. And again, my setup is overkill. Again, I'm a tech guy, so that's why I have this powerful machine, but it's not needed for what I do. I could use a much lesser machine, but I did want to point out a few things. You can, I think I mentioned this, you can use a digital camera as your webcam. If you do, it's going to give you the best audio video quality there is, hands down. I still recommend that if you do have a digital camera, that you have a webcam as a backup. You should always have a backup. Something can go wrong, and you need to switch over to the backup. If you're using a digital camera, something super helpful, get this thing called the dummy battery. What's a dummy battery? It's a device that actually, you get it on Amazon. It actually looks like a battery. Plug it into the camera wherever your battery is. It has a cord that plugs into the wall to get power. And your camera thinks it has a fully energized battery all the time. Why is that important? Well, these batteries, they don't last very long. I got lucky. My Sony a7R III actually has pretty good lifespan with this battery. I probably get a little bit over an hour. But I'll tell you, there have been plenty of streams before I got this dummy battery that I was stressing. I was like, is this thing going to die on me? And then it happened with me and one of my best friends. We were streaming. He was a guest, and he has a Canon. And I asked him in the pre-checks, I'm like, when's the last time you charged your battery? He said, just a couple days ago. And I'm like, you're going to run out of battery. And I said, do you know how long your battery lasts? No, not really. So what happened? We're streaming for an hour, 20 minutes in, his camera goes dead, and then we're scrambling to get him back up and running. So anyhow, dummy battery, you'll thank me again later for that one. Blue Yeti mic, again, this is what I'm using. There's a lot of good mics out there, but again, get a good mic. lighting, I use two Elgato key light air panels. I have one on the left, one on the right in front of me. So that light's coming down this way. You can adjust it. It has great software. I have a RGB floodlight on the ground here, just kind of giving a little cast. I actually purchased two of them, but I'm only using one. Maybe I'll use two, depending on the size of your room. You might need more. And again, it's what you prefer. Take a look, review it, see if it meets your expectations. Anyhow, so that's all of them. Wow, a lot to say. Let me go back here to the main camera here. All right, I did say on the slide that social media marketing. Wow, there's a lot to that, right? So first thing I recommend is you get on all the platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and anything else that you can think of. I guess, oh God, I have it and I can't think of the other one. TikTok, right? That's a big thing as well. I have a TikTok account. I'm just not using it. It's a lot of work to get your content out there and try to use the social media platforms to bring people to your channel. But if done right, it's super powerful. I've had an Instagram account for years and I never used it. And recently I've been starting to grow it. Now I created my own Nickel City Mafia instead of my own personal account. And it's taken a while. I've only did that like 3 weeks ago, but I'm seeing the power of it. What's beautiful is that Facebook owns Instagram. So anytime you post on Instagram, your Facebook folks will see that. And I'm just always surprised at how many folks have seen my stories that I add. So for instance, stories are good for like 24 hours, right? You want to add those stories constantly right before you're about to go live. Like I'll say Nickel City Mafia going live tomorrow to talk about all things Buffalo or blah, 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 whatever I'm talking about. And I'll put that out there. Link in bio. Make sure that's important. You got to say link in bio. That means that they have to go into your bio and they're going to click on the link there. Instagram doesn't give you a way to add a direct link. Now, if you had 10,000 followers or if you were a business, you could do that. Actually, I guess it's a swipe up and they have a link. They can go right to your channel. But you have to grow it the hard way here. And super powerful. Anyhow, I do stories, again, 24 hours, and I do it a couple days before the live stream, day before the live stream, and then day of the live stream, I like to do a live in 5. So what I basically say is I'm going live in 5, Nickel City Mafia, and hopefully I can get some viewers to join when that's happening. So again, that's Instagram, going to Facebook, and that's the best way I've gotten visibility. Facebook, if you have a lot of followers and you think you're just going to be able to go paste in your link to your channel, think again. Facebook doesn't like that. They don't like people leaving their platform. So if they detect the link, they're going to basically, their algorithm picks up on it and only a few people see it. It's crazy how it works. So what I have done is I'll post an image. Don't post a link, post an image. And I'll say, hey, Nickel City Mafia just talked about such and such. Check the comment for details. And then I'll put the link in there. I seem to get a little better response. Not great. What is also helpful is on Facebook, join some groups related to the content that you're bringing. So as you can see, Nickel City Mafia, Buffalo Bills, Bills Mafia. There's Bills Mafia groups on Facebook, and I've joined them. I love those people. I interact with them. I'm not just going there to blast my channel out there. No, heck no. That's the last thing you want to do. I mean, you'll have admins ban you or what have you. No, I love those people. I'm a Bills Mafia member. But the nice thing is I interact with them. And every now and then, if I see there's certain discussions going on that I think they would be interested in, and I just talked about something that I see the discussions going on about, I'll post my information. I'll post an image. Again, I've tried both, whether it's a direct link or an image, and then the link in the comments. The image with the link in the comments seems to get a little bit better traction. But again, just don't go to just don't join a group to blast out your channel. It's not cool. And these are people that are, interested in content you're producing. You don't want to upset them. I guarantee you don't. So don't go there. I only do it for a few, and I'm trying to work the platform, work the channel, or promote it through other means, and it's these other social media platforms. So anyhow, that's Facebook in a nutshell. Instagram seems to be getting me the most traction. Twitter. I've had Twitter since Twitter was created. We actually used it for a serious thing that happened years ago, and we had to communicate as a family. But I haven't really used it to promote anything. Luckily, the three guys that joined me on the channel, they do Twitter, so they're taking care of that side to kind of draw folks over to the back to the channel. So we got all things covered. And then I'm also fortunate enough, and maybe you are as well, that my company actually has a social media marketing team. So every now and then, I mean, treat them for lunch, take them to lunch, buy their lunch, and ask them some questions. They're always willing to share. So if you have that luxury, go that route as well. They've given me some great information. For instance, when you post your stories on Instagram, like I said, I have 3 stories leading up to the day I go live. Don't use the same thumbnail. Have a different thumbnail. People will think it's, even if I change the words, people will be like, oh, it's the same. What, this guy, I don't know, he's making mistakes. I've already read that. It's not. It's different. But I use the same thumbnail. Use a unique thumbnail for everything you put out there. Even on your post, change it up. Hey, I just finished. Don't use the same thumbnail you used on your story. Have something different. And it just makes people think that, because it is different, you're putting some different words on it, and you want to draw them in. And if they see the same image, they're just like, oh, I've already seen this. There's nothing for me to look at any longer. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Again, if I had someone that I could ask these questions to, it would have been super helpful. Again, I'm a tech guy. I get nervous when I go on camera. It is a nerve-wracking thing. So if I skipped over something that you want more information on, just hit me up, and I promise you I will get back to you as soon as possible. I think we all need to help one another if we're going to be successful doing this, and I would love to meet some of you. And man, if you're doing something similar to what I'm doing, sports, maybe we can collaborate. I think it'd be great to collaborate. Look at that rhymes. So let's, there's opportunities there. But I would love to ask you guys, what are some things that I'm missing that you're doing that's actually helping bring people to your channel? And maybe you're having some technical difficulties, and maybe I'm having some technical difficulties. And I already said that I have a lot of folks I can reach out to, but maybe I want to ask you, what did you do in this case? So anyhow, that's kind of it. I thank you for hanging out. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, hit the sub button, and give us a comment, because that's how we meet new people. We got to help each other through this. So I hope it helped you. I hope go spend some time with your family. Enjoy your family. That's super important. Good night now. Bye.